Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on the channel. I just wanted to give my thoughts on the Goran Dragic comments today, which if you're a Raptors fan, you may have heard, and if you're not a Raptors fan, you probably haven't given a damn about or heard about. But essentially his comments just came out and said he has higher ambitions than playing with the Toronto Raptors, and it's not his ideal destination. Which, okay, sure, I can understand that. It's Toronto, which is Canada, and not Miami, so just location, aesthetics, weather, makes sense. Tax-wise, makes sense. But nonetheless, this is the scenario he's in for the next year, or at least until he gets dealt closer to the deadline. And so it's a bit of an odd comment to make as far as even making yourself a bit more easily tradable. That being said, I'm going to be breaking down both sides of this comment, why I think it's a really negative comment, and why I think you just really shouldn't read into it that much, and then I'll give my thoughts on it a bit more in depth at the end. With that being said, let's get into it. So firstly, on the negative side, if you're a Toronto Raptors fan like myself, then yeah, this kind of sucks to see, considering this is a guy who's coming in at the same spot as the guy you just traded away in a sign and trade, who's the greatest Raptor of all time in Kyle Lowry. This is someone who obviously didn't love Toronto when he first came there either, and wasn't planning on staying there. But it worked out. He ended up loving the city, loving Toronto, loving the team, and of course, he's now the greatest Raptor of all time. Now, did something similar happen with Goran Dragic, where he ends up changing his mind once he gets there and he enjoys it? Maybe. Kawhi ended up enjoying it a lot more than he thought he was going to as well, so it wouldn't be the first time. But nonetheless, this isn't someone who's going to be there for long. It's not going to be someone who's playing a long-term role. And so I don't see that happening. And so the fact that Dragic seems to want out, but then makes a statement that's going to make it seem like he really wants out, so then teams around the league are going to think that Raptors are more eager to trade him, which makes his value lower, which makes probably knowing the Raptors front office probably less likely to trade him, because they're not going to be able to get enough back for him to make it worth it. Doesn't really make sense from Goran Dragic's standpoint to make that statement. And for a Toronto Raptors fan, it sucks. You bring in a guy who, sure, he's not going to be an 35-minute-a-night guy for this team. He's not going to be a Kyle Lowry-type player, but he still could be an impactful player for this team next year. A little bit of playmaking and scoring off of the bench in 15, 20 minutes a night. And the fact that he's come out and made these statements like a couple of days after being traded before he's even set foot in Toronto, it hurts. It hurts. And I know we're not used to it, but it's still just an ugly reminder, given that we haven't dealt with this in a couple of years, that, you know, like, it sucks. Like, even if Dragic feels that way, which I'm sure a lot of people do initially coming to Toronto via trade, just, like, experience the city a little bit, or just, like, keep the thoughts to yourself, or at least not in the media, because it just doesn't really help anyone. And it, of course, as Toronto Raptors fans, we're all used to it, but it still sucks. That being said, that's my argument on it being very bad. I just want to give my side on it now, and I guess don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's not that deep, and that's the side I'm gonna play here now. And so realistically, obviously the comment is like, okay, like, annoying. At the end of the day, this isn't Hawaii type player we're bringing in, right? This is Goran Dragic. He's there on a 1-year deal. He's not going to be an absolutely crucial part to our team next year. Depending on the play, if some of our backup guards may not even play that much anyways. I'm not sure he probably will, because after Malachi, assuming Gary Trent starts, someone's going to have to be at that 2 spot, and it's probably going to be Goran and Malachi off of the bench. But he's not going to be like a crucial guy for this team. He's not here for the long term. Probably going to get flipped before the deadline. I wouldn't be too worried about it. Yeah, it's negative, it's whatever. It's against the city of Toronto and the Raptors. But let's be real. Going from Miami to Toronto, that's a shitty move. Realistically, tax reasons and weather reasons, basketball team reasons. There's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to be moved from the Miami Heat to the Toronto Raptors right now. And fair enough. Miami are one of the teams that you could argue are on the borderline contention for a title. I have them more on the outside of that, but you can definitely make the argument from the inside of that. Whereas the Raptors, I might not get a lot of positive feedback from Raptors fans here, but as a Raptors fan myself, I don't think we're anywhere near a playoff lock next year. I just don't think we are, and that's not a knock against us, because I think we actually have a really good team going into next year. It's more so just a statement of how good the Eastern Conference is. I'll be talking about that a little bit more in a video over the next couple of days, because I think the Eastern Conference is really bulked up. So Dragic is going from one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference to a team that might be fighting for the play-in games, might not even get into the playoffs. And so I can understand where he's coming from, and I don't think it's that deep of a statement. That being said, where do I feel about it? I think it's an unnecessary statement to make to the media. I don't think it's a statement that necessarily needs to be made. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's not going to be an impactful part of our team long term. He's not going to be someone playing 30+ minutes a night. And it's not, at the end of the day, going to impact that much about our season or what Goran Dragic does for us next year, unless he decides to not show up. But that's not the sense I get from it. So at the end of the day, I wouldn't be too worried about this. It's an unfortunate statement. It reminds us that, of course, no one wants to come to Toronto, but that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. It's just the way it is. This isn't Precious saying this, which I would be a little bit more concerned about, given the fact that Precious is young. He could be our potential starting center future, and has 3 more years left on team control. This is someone who's going to be gone at the end of the year, who's not part of our future. He's 35 years old. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. Chilling. We got our core group going in the next year. The guys that are on the Raptors, like Toronto, Fred VanVleet, Siakam, these guys, OG, they like Toronto. They like the Raptors. That's the main thing. I'm not too concerned about a new guy coming in at age 35 who isn't going to be that happy with Toronto. Not that deep for me at the end of the day. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you have any thoughts on the statement by Goran Dragic so far today. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to hear my thoughts on other free agency signings, then be sure to click the box on the right-hand side of the screen. If you want to hear my thoughts on the Gary Trent re-signing by the Toronto Raptors, then be sure to click the box on the left. That being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. That being mentioned, I will have that Eastern Conference video, how the Eastern Conference has gotten much better. I'll have that video out in the next couple of days. With that being said, guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.